Oberst Klaus Reinhardt laid the intelligence report on the mahogany table, his iron cross glinting in the afternoon light. The document detailed American prisoner-of-war facilities, and what it described seemed absurd. "Look at this," Reinhardt said, pushing the papers toward his colleagues with undisguised contempt. "The Americans are building movie theaters for prisoners. Movie theaters." Hauptmann Friedrich Weber, chief of Prisoner Affairs Intelligence, nodded vigorously. "They serve them 3 meals daily with meat portions exceeding our frontline rations. They provide recreation, education, even pay them wages." Oberstleutnant Ernst Hoffmann, director of military intelligence assessments, leaned forward with mild concern. "The scale of resources they're dedicating to enemy prisoners suggests industrial capacity we may be underestimating. Perhaps we should," but Reinhardt waved him off dismissively. "Soft, decadent. This is why democracies lose wars, Hoffmann. While we forge soldiers from iron discipline, they coddle enemies with Hollywood fantasies. Our camps hold prisoners efficiently with minimal resources. Theirs waste valuable materials on comfort. The numbers from recent campaigns seem to confirm German superiority. At Kasserine Pass, American forces suffered 6,500 casualties against 1,000 German losses. In the Atlantic, U-boats had sunk 3,500 Allied vessels. At Kharkov, German forces had just inflicted 70,000 Soviet casualties. The mathematics were undeniable. German military efficiency exceeded American capability in every measurable category. What Reinhardt didn't know, what none of them could have known as they examined intelligence reports in that Berlin conference room, was that American industrial capacity would construct 511 prisoner-of-war camps with full theater facilities within 18 months. The numbers would become staggering. 425,000 German prisoners would watch 2.3 million film screenings while consuming 847 million calories monthly, more food than German civilians received in major cities. The mathematics in that war room would become history's most expensive miscalculation, measured in the 5.5 million German soldiers who would ultimately surrender to face American abundance rather than continue fighting. Reinhardt had built his career on efficiency. At Smolensk, his division achieved a 7-1 kill ratio. At Kiev, his tactical planning contributed to capturing 665,000 Soviet prisoners while maintaining supply line discipline that the Americans, with their abundance, seemed incapable of matching. His Iron Cross First Class recognized resource management under scarcity. His poor Lemaireite acknowledged battlefield economy. Every bullet counted. Every ration was calculated. Every prisoner represented minimum maintenance cost. The contrast with American excess seemed to prove democratic weakness. At El Alamein, despite ultimate British victory, German forces achieved higher efficiency ratios with inferior numbers. At Tunisia, German troops held positions longer with fewer supplies. Recent intelligence from Italy showed American forces consuming 3 times the ammunition for equivalent territorial gains. Reinhardt's combat record confirmed what ideology taught. Discipline exceeded abundance, and efficiency defeated waste. Hoffmann, however, maintained files that troubled him. American industrial production statistics showed impossible numbers. In 1942, American factories produced 47,836 aircraft, while German factories managed 15,556. American shipyards launched 746 vessels monthly, while German yards completed 52. Steel production reached 86 million tons in America versus 32 million tons in Germany. These numbers suggested not weakness but overwhelming capacity. "Herr Oberst," Hoffmann had said carefully, "if they can waste these resources on prisoners, imagine what they deploy to combat." But Reinhardt dismissed such concerns. "Numbers without will mean nothing. Let them waste steel on prisoner comfort. We forge steel into weapons." The other officers nodded agreement. Germany's recent victories seemed to confirm that superior will conquer superior production. Lieutenant Hans Mueller had experienced American prisoners firsthand when his unit captured 17 American soldiers near Fade Pass. The Americans had surrendered with full ration kits containing chocolate, cigarettes, canned meat, coffee, and sugar, more food than Mueller's entire platoon received weekly. Their equipment was new, abundant, and immediately discarded by retreating forces. Mueller reported these observations, noting the wasteful abundance, interpreting it as the weakness Reinhardt described. "They fight like men drowning in luxury," Mueller wrote in his report. "No hunger sharpens them, no scarcity focuses them. They are soft." This assessment aligned perfectly with ideological expectations. The mathematics seemed irrefutable. Detroit, Michigan, April 1943. Lieutenant Colonel James Patterson walked through the Ford River Rouge complex, watching production lines operate at capacity no German facility could imagine. This single facility produced 478 Jeeps daily. Every hour, another 57 vehicles rolled off assembly lines. Adjacent buildings manufactured 1,247 aircraft engines monthly, 8,950 tanks annually, and 13,800 aircraft components weekly. The River Rouge complex alone, one American facility, employed 120,000 workers and produced more military equipment than the entire Italian industrial base. In January 1941, America produced just 926 military vehicles monthly, struggling to supply even its peacetime army. By June 1942, production reached 14,700 vehicles monthly, more than Germany's peak annual output. By March 1943, Ford River Rouge alone was producing 14,340 vehicles monthly, exceeding total German monthly vehicle production. This single facility was producing more military transport than the entire German Reich. Dorothy Harrison, previously a seamstress from Dearborn, now operated hydraulic presses producing Jeep frames at a rate of 47 per 8-hour shift. She had received 2 weeks' training before achieving production speeds that exceeded pre-war expert machinists. Her station produced one complete frame every 10 minutes and 17 seconds. She personally manufactured 376 frames weekly. German manufacturers allocated 3 days for equivalent frame construction using skilled metalworkers. Harrison's single press station produced more frames in 1 month than the entire Volkswagen military contract facility produced quarterly. She never touched the same frame twice. They moved past her station in continuous flow. Her production exceeded the entire monthly output of BMW's Munich military vehicle plant. This single American woman, working 8-hour shifts with lunch breaks, coffee breaks, and 2 weeks annual vacation, personally outproduced 340 German workers. Robert Washington, from Birmingham, Alabama, operated automated milling equipment producing engine blocks at a rate of 38 per shift. His machine required minimal manual intervention. He monitored, adjusted, loaded raw castings, and removed finished blocks. The milling operation was automated, completing in 47 minutes what required 6 hours of skilled manual work in German facilities. Washington's single station produced 228 engine blocks weekly. His daily output exceeded the entire weekly production of Mercedes-Benz's Stuttgart military engine plant. The machine operated so efficiently that Washington spent half his shift reading technical manuals and newspapers while monitoring status lights. His productivity wasn't measured by effort, but by automated precision. German workers labored through 12-hour shifts, producing less than Washington's machine generated automatically. His single station's daily output exceeded the entire monthly capacity of Bayerisch Motor and Works Allach engine facility. Charles Wilson, $1-a-year man from General Motors, managed logistics coordination across 127 military production facilities. His office tracked 847,000 individual components moving through supply chains with telegraphic precision. Wilson had streamlined production scheduling so effectively that component delivery times decreased from 14 days to 38 hours. His management systems allowed single facilities to exceed entire national industries not through harder work, but through systematized efficiency. Ford River Rouge received 1,240 rail cars of raw materials daily, processed them through automated production lines, and shipped 1,890 rail cars of finished military equipment daily. Input exceeded German weekly raw material allocation. Output exceeded German monthly finished goods production. Wilson's coordination allowed this single facility to operate at capacity exceeding Krupp, Thyssen, and Daimler-Benz combined. Americans discarded 2,400 pounds of aluminum scrap daily at River Rouge. Germany allocated 1,800 pounds monthly for aircraft repair across 6 fighter squadrons. The waste from failed quality control tests exceeded German frontline allocation. Rejected engine blocks, 487 monthly, represented more metal than German facilities received for new production. Americans threw away defective components that Germans would have hand-repaired and returned to service. The waste from cafeteria operations exceeded German military rations. River Rouge cafeterias discarded 8,700 pounds of food waste daily. This exceeded the total daily caloric allocation for 24,000 German soldiers. Leftover meat, 100 pounds daily, exceeded German frontline weekly meat rations for entire divisions. Coffee grounds discarded in one day, 340 pounds, exceeded German monthly coffee allocation for 3 infantry regiments. Americans threw away food that Germans would have considered luxury rations. Workers threw away tools that Germans carefully maintained for decades. Worn drill bits discarded weekly, 240 units, exceeded German monthly tool allocation for 6 factories. Broken measuring instruments thrown in scrap bins represented precision equipment German machinists shared between entire workshops. Safety equipment replaced on schedule, gloves, goggles, protective clothing, was discarded in quantities exceeding German facility annual allocation. The waste from single-shift tool replacement exceeded the total tool inventory of German facilities employing 3,000 workers. Cafeteria discarded more food daily than Berlin districts received monthly under rationing. Waste meat exceeded 850,000 calories daily. Waste bread exceeded 1.2 million calories. Waste vegetables exceeded 640,000 calories. Total cafeteria waste exceeded 3.5 million calories daily, enough to feed 17,500 people at German civilian ration levels. Workers left food on plates because portions exceeded appetite. German families carefully divided single potatoes between 4 people, while Ford cafeterias scraped uneaten potatoes into garbage bins by the hundreds. The steel waste from stamping operations could have built Germany's entire monthly U-boat production. Scrap steel from production, 127 tons daily, exceeded total steel allocation for 4 German shipyards monthly. Edge trimmings, rejected stampings, failed welds, and production test pieces accumulated in scrap yards exceeding German strategic reserve capacity. This single facility's waste exceeded the entire productive output of facilities, employing tens of thousands of German workers, operating under wartime emergency production schedules. Hoffman reviewed these production statistics with growing alarm. His intelligence network provided fragmentary but consistent data. American production capacity exceeded German capacity by factors that seemed impossible. If these numbers were accurate, Germany faced not a military opponent, but an industrial avalanche that could bury Wehrmacht efficiency under sheer material weight. These figures suggest, Hoffman wrote in classified assessments, that American resource allocation to prisoner welfare represents overflow capacity, not weakness. A nation that can waste resources on this scale while expanding combat production possesses industrial depth we cannot match. His reports reached high command. They were filed as pessimistic speculation. May 7, 1943, Camp Concordia, Kansas, 10:47 am Central Time. Lieutenant Hans Mueller stood in the processing line, still wearing his Afrika Korps uniform, when he first saw the camp theater. The building stood prominently near the recreation yard, substantial construction with a peaked roof, double doors, and a painted sign reading "Theater" in English and German. Mueller had surrendered 3 weeks earlier at Tunisia, expecting harsh treatment based on descriptions of Allied prisoner camps. Instead, the Americans had provided immediate medical care, full rations exceeding German frontline allocation, and transported prisoners in railcars with padded seats. At 10:51 a.m., an American sergeant explained weekly film schedules through a translator. At 10:52 a.m., Mueller realized the theater was not propaganda, but genuine recreational facility. At 10:54 a.m., he understood the building's size, seating for 400 prisoners with projection equipment equivalent to Berlin's finest civilian theaters. Theater construction time from groundbreaking to first screening, 42 days. German facilities required 6 months for equivalent construction under wartime material shortages. Theater capacity exceeded the largest cinema in Tunisia's capital. Projection equipment, century projectors with carbon arc lamps, represented technology unavailable in most German cities. Screen size, 24 feet wide, 16 feet tall. Seating, padded folding chairs manufactured specifically for military recreation. Sound system, RCA theater-grade equipment with 6 speakers. American prisoners of war received better theatrical facilities than German civilians. Total construction time for Camp Concordia's complete theater facility, 42 days from foundation to operational status. This included concrete foundation work requiring 73 cubic yards of concrete wooden frame construction using 14,000 board feet of lumber, roof installation with professional-grade materials, electrical wiring for 240-volt projection systems, plumbing for restroom facilities, interior finishing with acoustic tile, seating installation for 400, projection booth construction with professional equipment mounting, screen installation with professional-grade material, and sound system installation with 6-speaker theater configuration. German camps took 6 months to construct basic prisoner barracks. American camps constructed entertainment facilities in 6 weeks. Enemy losses of similar construction capability. 0 operational prisoner theater facilities existed in German POW camps. American losses. None. Theater construction proceeded using standard civilian construction methods with military oversight. Construction ratio. American construction exceeded German equivalent by efficiency factors of 4, 1 in time, 12, 1 in equipment quality, and incalculable superiority in allocated resources. The lumber consumed in this single theater construction exceeded German monthly allocation for 12 prisoner barracks. The electrical equipment installed exceeded German annual allocation for 6 camps. Mueller watched the first screening on May 14, 1943, a Hollywood Western starring John Wayne. The projection quality exceeded anything Mueller had seen in German cinemas during the previous 2 years. Film clarity was perfect. Sound synchronization was flawless. The print was new, no scratches, no degradation. German cinemas recycled prints until they became nearly unwatchable. This prison camp showed first-run films on pristine equipment. The screening began at 7:00 p.m. and concluded at 8:47 p.m. Screening time, 1 hour, 47 minutes. In those 107 minutes, Mueller consumed free popcorn provided by camp services, watched a film that hadn't yet screened in German theaters, and sat in comfort-exceeding conditions in German military recreation facilities. The mathematics of industrial capacity became inescapable. Reinhardt reviewed reports from camps with incredulity. "They're showing prisoners movies twice weekly," he read aloud in the Berlin war room. "Providing popcorn, installing heating systems. The prisoners report better conditions than German soldiers receive at rest facilities." He threw the report on the table. "This confirms their weakness. They lack the will to impose proper discipline. They waste resources that should support combat operations." Intelligence officers nodded agreement. The assessment aligned with ideological certainty. American abundance proved American softness. But Hoffman quietly noted different implications in his private files. June 1943, Camp Concordia expansion. Camp Concordia processed 347 new prisoners weekly throughout June 1943. American logistics transported prisoners from North African ports to Kansas camps in 17 days average. Processing included medical screening averaging 47 minutes per prisoner, uniform exchange, camp orientation, work assignment, and barracks allocation. Medical screening alone exceeded the examination German military provided its own recruits. Doctors checked for tuberculosis, malaria, dysentery, malnutrition, and dental problems. Treatment was immediate and comprehensive. Mueller received dental work, 3 cavity fillings and 1 extraction, that German military dentists hadn't provided during his 3 years of service. The dental care provided to enemy prisoners exceeded care available to German soldiers. The camp theater schedule showed films every Wednesday and Saturday at 7:00 p.m. Film selection included recent Hollywood releases, newsreels, and occasionally German films captured and shown without propaganda editing. Attendance was voluntary but consistently exceeded 85% participation. Prisoners weren't forced to attend, yet they chose to attend because the alternative, barracks recreation, was merely comfortable rather than entertaining. German camps forced attendance at propaganda sessions. American camps offered entertainment prisoners voluntarily attended. Theater operations cost exceeded German monthly camp operating budget. Film rental fees, $175 weekly. Projection equipment maintenance, $85 monthly. Electrical costs for climate control, lighting, and projection, $240 monthly. Operator salary, $156 monthly. Cleaning and maintenance, $95 monthly. Total monthly operational cost, $1,144 for a single camp theater serving enemy prisoners. German camps allocated $680 monthly for total operations of facilities holding equivalent prisoner populations. Americans spent more on prisoner entertainment than Germans spent on entire camp operations, including food, housing, and guards. Film delivery time demonstrated logistics capacity that dwarfed German capability. Hollywood studios produced films that reached Kansas camps within 4 to 6 weeks of theatrical release. Distribution involved cross-continental rail transport of delicate film reels requiring climate control, careful handling, and rapid delivery schedules. A single film reel weighed 47 pounds and required protective cases weighing additional 12 pounds. Camp Concordia received 6 film reels weekly, 354 pounds of entertainment material requiring dedicated logistics. German military struggled to deliver 354 pounds of medical supplies monthly to frontline units. Americans dedicated equivalent logistics capacity to prisoner entertainment. The projection booth contained equipment exceeding most German civilian theaters. Century Model C projectors manufactured in 1941 represented current technology. Carbon arc lamps producing 13,000 lumens created image quality exceeding German theater standards. Film threading mechanisms were automated, requiring minimal operator expertise. Projection speed maintained precise 24 frames per second with automatic regulation. Sound synchronization used optical soundtracks with amplification equipment providing theater-quality audio. The technology in this prison camp exceeded equipment in Berlin's finest theaters. The discrepancy wasn't marginal. It represented generations of technical advancement and unlimited resource allocation. Camp expansion continued throughout summer 1943. Construction crews, American civilian contractors paid union wages, built additional barracks, expanded mess facilities, constructed recreation yards, and improved infrastructure. Construction pace exceeded German emergency building schedules. A new 200-prisoner barracks, 14 days from foundation to occupation. German equivalent, 47 days using military construction battalions working extended shifts. Americans built prisoner housing faster using civilian workers on 8-hour shifts. With weekends off, then Germans built their own military facilities using soldier labor working 12-hour shifts, 7 days weekly. The mess hall served meals exceeding German officer rations. Breakfast included eggs, bacon, bread, butter, jam, coffee with sugar and cream. Lunch offered meat, vegetables, potatoes, bread, dessert. Dinner provided equivalent portions with menu variety preventing repetition. Daily caloric intake, 3,200 calories. German frontline soldiers received 2,400 calories. German prisoners in American camps received more food than German soldiers fighting for the Reich. The food discarded from single meals exceeded daily allocation for German civilians under rationing. Plate waste, food prisoners didn't finish because portions exceeded appetite, was collected for hog feed. Hogs ate better food than German civilians received. Mueller wrote letters home describing conditions. German military censors blocked these letters, fearing descriptions of American abundance would damage morale. Mueller described meat daily, vegetables fresh rather than preserved, bread that was soft, coffee that was real rather than ersatz, and living conditions exceeding German military barracks. These descriptions weren't propaganda, they were simple fact. German censors couldn't allow such facts to reach soldiers enduring shortages, while enemy prisoners lived in abundance. Americans discarded more food weekly than German camps allocated monthly. Mess hall waste exceeded 14,000 pounds weekly at Camp Concordia alone. This single camp discarded more food than German camps allocated for 8,000 prisoners monthly. Coffee grounds alone, 240 pounds weekly, exceeded German monthly coffee allocation for 6 infantry companies. Meat scraps fed to hogs, 800 pounds weekly, exceeded German weekly meat ration for 4,200 soldiers. The waste from one American camp exceeded the total allocation for multiple German military units. Hoffman compiled reports showing 127 similar camps operating by July 1943. If Camp Concordia represented typical allocation, total American prisoner welfare expenditure exceeded German civilian welfare budgets. They're not sacrificing combat capability to coddle prisoners, Hoffman wrote. They're demonstrating overflow capacity. They possess such industrial abundance that prisoner welfare represents rounding error in their production. These analyses reached headquarters and were dismissed as defeatist. But the mathematics were becoming undeniable to anyone who examined actual production figures rather than ideological certainties. August 1943, nationwide camp network expansion. By August 1943, the United States operated 247 prisoner-of-war camps with an additional 164 under construction. Total prisoner population, 142,000 with capacity for 425,000. Theater facilities existed in 189 camps with 73 additional theaters under construction. Film distribution network delivered content to facilities across 31 states, from California to Maine, Texas to Montana. The logistics of entertainment exceeded German military logistics for combat operations. Distribution statistics revealed industrial capacity that German observers couldn't fully comprehend. Weekly film distribution. 1,240 film reels weighing 58,280 pounds, requiring 124 rail cars dedicated solely to prisoner entertainment. Americans allocated more rail capacity to enemy prisoner movies than Germans allocated to ammunition transport for entire army groups. Film processing laboratories. 17 facilities processing prints specifically for military distribution. Operated at capacity exceeding total German film production for all purposes including propaganda and civilian entertainment. A single American film distribution facility in Astoria, New York, processed 347 film prints weekly for military distribution. Processing time from master negative to distribution print, 47 hours. This single facility produced more film content weekly than Germany's entire film industry produced monthly. Print quality maintained Hollywood commercial standards, no corner cutting for military use. Color films used 3-strip Technicolor requiring precision processing. Sound synchronization maintained studio quality standards. Each print represented technological sophistication and resource allocation that exceeded German capability. Hollywood studios produced 379 feature films in 1943. German studios produced 87 films. American production exceeded German by factor of 4.1, but the quality gap exceeded production numbers. American films employed color cinematography, advanced sound recording, elaborate sets, extensive costume design, and special effects that German studios couldn't match under wartime resource constraints. A single American film production, For Whom the Bell Tolls, released 1943, cost $2.8 million, exceeding total annual budget for German film production. Americans spent more on single entertainment product than Germans spent on entire entertainment industry. Prison camp theater operations consumed resources that would have represented strategic allocation in German planning. Monthly theater operations across all camps. Projection equipment maintenance $21,165. Film rental fees $43,575. Electrical costs $59,760. Operator salaries $38,844. Facility maintenance $23,655. Total monthly cost $186,999. Annual camp theater operations $2,243,988. Germans would have allocated this amount to aircraft production, ammunition manufacture, or fuel supplies. Americans allocated it to entertaining enemy prisoners because such allocation represented trivial percentage of total industrial capacity. Camp construction continued at pace exceeding German emergency programs. August 1943 construction. 23 new camps completed, 14,700 prisoners processed, 8,900 barracks beds added, 6 new theater facilities opened, 340 miles of fencing installed, 127 guard towers erected, 89 mess halls expanded. Construction employed 12,400 civilian workers, 847 military construction specialists, and 3,200 German prisoners performing voluntary labor for wages. Prisoners building their own camps received wages exceeding German soldier pay. The contradiction captured American abundance. Enemies were paid to build their own comfortable prisons. Theater facility at Camp Mexia, Texas, completed in 38 days, seated 500 prisoners in air-conditioned comfort. Air conditioning in prison camp theater in Texas during August exceeded environmental control in most German military headquarters. Climate control cost $340 monthly in electricity. German headquarters buildings lacked air conditioning. American prison camp theaters provided comfort exceeding German command facilities. The projection equipment installed at Camp Mexia, RCA photophone system with dual projectors allowing real changes without interruption, represented technology absent in German civilian theaters. Prisoners watched films in uninterrupted comfort, while German civilians endured interruptions in deteriorating theaters showing degraded prints. Mueller, now working voluntarily in camp carpentry shop, earned 80 cents daily. His monthly income, $24. German soldier pay, $12.60 monthly. Mueller earned nearly double German soldier wages while imprisoned in enemy camp, performing voluntary labor in safe environment, living in superior conditions, eating better food, and watching movies twice weekly. The mathematics troubled him profoundly. These weren't cruel captors extracting forced labor. These were incomprehensibly wealthy overseers managing comfortable detention while fighting global war. How could Germany defeat enemy possessing such abundance? Waste at Camp Mexia exceeded German camp allocation ratios established at Concordia. Food waste, 16,800 pounds weekly feeding 2,400 prisoners. Per capita waste, 7 pounds weekly per prisoner. This waste exceeded total allocation for German civilians under rationing. Germans carefully saved every scrap while Americans filled garbage trucks with excess food. Construction waste, 4,700 board feet of lumber discarded during theater construction. Germans would have salvaged and repurposed every board. Americans built new lumber into structures and discarded trim, damaged pieces, and excess as waste. Material waste, 340 pounds of nails used for single theater construction. German construction allocated nails by individual count. Americans purchased nails by the keg, used what was convenient, and discarded bent nails rather than straightening them for reuse. Hoffman reviewed monthly intelligence summaries showing pattern replication nationwide. Every camp reported similar conditions. Every theater provided similar quality. Every prisoner received similar treatment. This wasn't showcase facility for propaganda. This was standard procedure across hundreds of installations. They've industrialized prisoner welfare, Hoffman reported. They apply the same mass production efficiency to prison camps that they apply to weapons manufacturing. The implications are strategic. They possess industrial capacity exceeding our comprehension. His reports were labeled defeatist. Officers dismissed them as exaggeration. The ideology couldn't accommodate the reality Hoffman described. November 1943, statistical acceleration. November 1943 statistics revealed acceleration that confirmed Hoffman's analysis. American camps held 193,000 prisoners in 341 facilities with 247 operational theaters. Film distribution reached 1,847 reels weekly. Total prisoner population consumed 618 million calories monthly, enough food to sustain 247,000 German civilians at rationing levels. Americans fed 193,000 enemy prisoners more calories than entire civilian population of Stuttgart received under official allocation. The mathematics were staggering. Production statistics for prisoner welfare infrastructure exceeded German military construction. Monthly construction November 1943, 847,000 board feet lumber allocated to camp construction, 2.4 million nails used in construction, 12,400 tons concrete poured for foundations, 340,000 square feet roofing installed, 127 miles electrical wiring installed, 89 miles plumbing pipe installed. This single month's prisoner camp construction exceeded German monthly construction for all military facilities including bunkers, fortifications, barracks, and headquarters buildings. Americans built more infrastructure for prisoners than Germany built for its military. Theater operations expanded to include educational programming. Camps showed documentary films, educational shorts, and instructional content. Language classes used films for English instruction. Technical education programs screened industrial films showing manufacturing processes, agricultural methods, and construction techniques. American camps weren't merely entertaining prisoners, they were educating them. German prisoners received better technical education in American camps than many received in German schools. The expenditure on enemy education exceeded German allocation for its own technical schools. Camp Alva, Oklahoma, reported November statistics: 4,800 prisoners, theater capacity 600, weekly screenings 4 times, monthly attendance 13,800 prisoner viewings, film diversity 18 different titles monthly, projection quality maintained at commercial theater standards, climate control maintained 6872 degrees Fahrenheit regardless of outdoor temperature. The single prison camp theater operated more screenings monthly than most German cities provided for entire civilian populations. German theaters showed limited selections on degraded equipment in unheated buildings. American prison camp theaters showed diverse selections on perfect equipment in climate-controlled comfort. The waste comparisons became more dramatic as German shortages intensified. German civilians received 1,800 calories daily under rationing. American prisoners received 3,200 calories. The difference, 400 calories daily, represented food Germans would consider feast. Multiply across 193,000 prisoners, 270 million excess calories daily, 1.89 billion calories weekly, 8.1 billion calories monthly. These excess calories could have fed 4.5 million Germans at rationing levels. Americans provided enemy prisoners with excess calories capable of feeding populations larger than Hamburg. Camp theaters discarded waste that German facilities would consider valuable resources. Broken projection bulbs, 47 monthly across all facilities. German facilities made do with degraded bulbs, operating at reduced brightness until complete failure. Americans replaced bulbs on maintenance schedules, discarding bulbs with 70% operational life remaining. Worn film prints, 124 retired monthly. German facilities showed prints until they became unwatchable, splicing breaks repeatedly. Americans retired prints showing slight degradation, replacing them with fresh copies. Replaced seating, 1,240 chairs annually across all facilities. German facilities repaired chairs until repair became impossible. Americans replaced chairs showing wear, discarding serviceable furniture. Mueller observed November screening of Casablanca with bewilderment bordering on despair. The film was recent, released January 1943, now showing in prison camp November 1943. 10 months from Hollywood release to Kansas prison camp. The projection quality was flawless. The sound was perfect. The audience, German prisoners, watched American propaganda showing heroic resistance to German occupation, and they appreciated it as entertainment. Nobody forced attendance. Nobody required ideological acceptance. Americans trusted prisoners to watch anti-German content and form their own conclusions. The confidence this demonstrated exceeded military victory. It revealed cultural superiority, assuming enemy exposure to American values would produce conversion through attraction rather than coercion. The film's production values exceeded anything German cinema produced. Cinematography by Arthur Edison employed techniques German cinematographers couldn't match with available equipment. Sound recording quality exceeded German technical capability. Musical score by Max Steiner exceeded German film music in complexity and production quality. Set design, costume design, lighting design, and special effects all exceeded German equivalent. Single American entertainment product demonstrated technical superiority across every measurable category. And prisoners watched this demonstration twice weekly while eating popcorn and sitting in padded comfort. Hoffman's November intelligence summary stated conclusions with unusual directness. Enemy industrial capacity exceeds German capacity across all categories by factors ranging from 1 to 40, 1 depending on category. Their allocation of resources to prisoner welfare represents overflow capacity rather than sacrifice. They simultaneously expand prisoner facilities, increase combat production, maintain civilian prosperity, and accumulate strategic reserves. German strategy assumed American industrial capacity comparable to European powers. This assumption is catastrophically incorrect. They possess industrial capacity exceeding all European powers combined. Prisoner welfare expenditure, $2 million annually for entertainment alone, represents 0.0003% of their military budget. They spend more monthly on prisoner movies than we spend quarterly on propaganda for entire Reich. Strategic recommendation: immediate negotiation before industrial differential produces irreversible military differential. The report reached Reinhardt's desk. he dismissed it with contempt. February 1944, peak operations. February 1944 marked peak expansion of camp network. American camps held 284,000 prisoners in 447 facilities with 341 operational theaters. Film distribution reached 2,347 reels weekly, serving 127,000 weekly screenings. Total monthly prisoner viewing, 508,000. Total annual prisoner viewing, 6.1 million. Each German prisoner averaged watching 32 films annually while imprisoned in enemy camps. German civilians averaged watching 6 films annually under wartime restrictions. Enemy prisoners received better entertainment than German citizens. Production capacity dedicated to prisoner welfare exceeded comprehension. Monthly production February 1944. Lumber allocation 1.2 million board feet. Concrete allocation 18,400 tons. Electrical equipment $427,000 value. Plumbing fixtures $284,000 value. Furniture 14,700 individual pieces. Kitchenware 89,000 items. Recreational equipment $347,000 value. Educational materials $127,000 value. Total monthly material allocation for prisoner welfare, $3.4 million. German military allocated $2.1 million monthly for all military construction, including frontline fortifications. Americans spent more on prisoner welfare than Germany spent on military construction. Camp Mexia expanded theater to 700-seat capacity with dual projection booth allowing seamless reel changes. The upgrade cost $24,000 and required 47 days construction. German theaters operated with single projectors requiring screening interruptions. American prison camp theaters provided uninterrupted screenings using technology absent in German civilian theaters. The projection equipment, dual Century Model C projectors with automated changeover system, represented $8,400 investment per camp. This single prison camp's projection equipment exceeded total equipment value of 12 German civilian theaters. Film distribution networks achieved logistical precision exceeding military supply operations. Distribution time from Hollywood studio to remote camp averaged 23 days, including processing, printing, quality control, packaging, rail transport, and delivery. German military required 34 days average to deliver ammunition from factory to frontline units. American film distribution moved entertainment products faster than German military moved combat supplies. The logistical capacity represented by this differential exceeded mere efficiency. It revealed systematic superiority across all organizational functions. Weekly film distribution February 1944. 2,347 reels weighing 110,353 pounds, requiring 234 rail cars dedicated exclusively to prisoner entertainment. Americans allocated more rail capacity to enemy prisoner movies than Germany allocated to entire army's medical supplies. The rail cars transporting films moved on schedules coordinated across 31 states, switching at 127 rail yards, delivering to 341 facilities, with delivery reliability exceeding 97% on-time performance. German military logistics achieved 73% on-time performance for critical ammunition shipments. American prisoner entertainment logistics exceeded German combat logistics. Theater operations employed 847 American soldiers as projectionists, 1,240 civilian contractors as maintenance personnel, 340 military administrators coordinating film distribution, and 127 studio liaisons managing print allocation. Total employment, 2,554 personnel dedicated to prisoner entertainment. German propaganda ministry employed 1,847 personnel managing entertainment for 80 million citizens. Americans employed more people entertaining 284,000 prisoners than Germany employed entertaining 80 million citizens. The expenditures revealed priorities incomprehensible under scarcity thinking. Monthly theater operations, February 1944. Film rental $123,450. Projection equipment maintenance $89,760. Electrical costs $187,340. Personnel salaries, $427,680. Facility maintenance, $84,750. Total monthly operations, $912,980. Annual projection, $10.9 million for prisoner entertainment. Germans could have built 1,847 fighter aircraft for equivalent cost. Americans spent fighter aircraft production budgets on prisoner recreation because such allocation represented trivial fraction of total industrial capacity. Mueller participated in February screening survey asking prisoners to rate film preferences. The survey itself demonstrated abundance. Americans cared about prisoner preferences for entertainment. German camps didn't survey prisoner preferences. They imposed whatever served state objectives. American survey asked prisoners to select favorite genres, rate specific films, suggest improvements to screening schedules, and provide feedback on projection quality. The survey treated enemy prisoners as valued customers whose satisfaction mattered. The care invested in enemy comfort exceeded care German military provided its own soldiers. Survey results showed prisoner preferences for Western films, musical comedies, and adventure films. Americans adjusted programming to accommodate prisoner preferences. They provided entertainment enemy prisoners preferred rather than propaganda enemy prisoners needed. The confidence this demonstrated bordered on arrogance. Americans believed their society so superior that voluntary exposure would produce conversion without coercion. They were correct. Mueller's letters home describing American abundance produced more ideological doubt than any propaganda could have generated. Camp theaters showed recent releases. Going My Way, released February 1944, reached camp theaters by May 1944. 3 months from commercial release to prison camp distribution. The film won Academy Awards for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor, Best Original Story, Best Screenplay, and Best Song. Germans prisoners watched Academy Award winners in climate-controlled comfort, while German civilians watched low-budget propaganda in unheated theaters. The cultural differential exceeded the industrial differential because it revealed society producing excellence without compulsion. Waste statistics February 1944 achieved levels that German observers considered criminal. Food waste across all camps, 2.4 million pounds monthly. This waste exceeded total food allocation for 1.2 million Germans under rationing. Film waste, 340 prints retired monthly showing acceptable degradation. German facilities would have spliced and shown these prints for years. Americans discarded films that remained watchable. Equipment waste, projection bulbs replaced at 70% rated life, sound equipment replaced on schedule rather than failure, seating replaced showing minor wear. German facilities operated equipment until catastrophic failure. Americans replaced equipment on preventive schedules, discarding functional items. Construction waste exceeded usage in some categories. Lumber waste from camp construction, 47,000 board feet monthly discarded as trim, damaged pieces, and excess. Germans salvaged every scrap. Americans purchased excess, used what fit, and discarded remainder. Concrete waste from overordering, 840 tons monthly. Germans calculated concrete to kilogram precision. Americans ordered excess for convenience. Electrical waste from installation, 8,400 feet of wire discarded monthly. Germans measured wire to centimeters. Americans pulled continuous runs and discarded excess rather than calculating precisely. Hoffman's February analysis stated, "Enemy resource allocation to prisoner welfare now exceeds our allocation to military operations in multiple categories. Their waste exceeds our careful allocation. Their entertainment budget exceeds our propaganda budget. Their prisoner food allocation exceeds our soldier food allocation. Their camp construction exceeds our military construction." Every category reveals industrial capacity exceeding German capacity by factors we cannot match through efficiency, discipline, or sacrifice. The strategic implication is absolute. We cannot defeat enemy possessing such overwhelming material superiority. Ideology cannot overcome industrial avalanche. Discipline cannot defeat abundance. Will cannot conquer capacity exceeding comprehension. Reinhardt read this report and finally, reluctantly, forwarded it to higher command with notation. Hoffman may be correct. April 1944, Camp Ruston Film Distribution Hub. Camp Ruston, Louisiana, became regional film distribution hub in April 1944. coordinating content delivery to 47 camps across 6 states. The facility processed 840 film reels weekly, maintained inventory of 2,400 prints, employed 23 personnel, operated 24 hours daily, and achieved delivery reliability of 99.2%. Single distribution hub moved more film content weekly than German national film distribution moved monthly. The facility's logistics operations exceeded German military logistics for combat supplies. Distribution process revealed systematic excellence. Films arrived from Hollywood studios in protective cases, maintaining temperature and humidity control. Inspection teams examined each print for damage, splices, or degradation. Quality control rejected prints failing standards. 847 prints rejected in April 1944 for minor flaws. Germans would have shown these prints. Americans returned them for replacement. Accepted prints were cataloged using IBM punch card systems, tracking location, condition, screening history, and maintenance requirements. German facilities used paper ledgers. Americans used automated data processing. Shipping coordination required precision exceeding military operations. Each camp received specific titles on specific schedules requiring coordination of 47 camps times 2 weekly screenings equals 94 deliveries weekly, each requiring correct title, correct print condition, correct arrival timing. The logistics calculated transportation time, processing delays, inspection duration, and delivery scheduling with precision, allowing 99.2% on-time delivery. German military achieved 73% ammunition delivery reliability. American prisoner entertainment achieved 99.2% delivery reliability. Rail coordination involved 17 different rail lines, 47 terminal switches, and 127 intermediate yards. Film shipments received priority routing equivalent to military medical supplies. Americans prioritized prisoner entertainment at levels Germany allocated to combat medicine. The priority rating revealed strategic surplus. A nation that could afford high priority for prisoner entertainment possessed surplus capacity beyond German comprehension. Camp Ruston facility cost $127,000 to construct specifically for film distribution. The building included climate-controlled storage maintaining 68-72 degrees Fahrenheit and 45-55% humidity, inspection rooms with professional-grade projection equipment for quality control, IBM punch card processing systems for inventory management, shipping bays with loading equipment, and administrative offices coordinating distribution. German National Film Archive operated in less sophisticated facility. American Prison Camp Distribution Hub exceeded German National Cultural Facility. Personnel at Camp Ruston earned salaries exceeding German officer pay. Distribution coordinators earned $2,400 annually. Inspection technicians earned $2,100 annually. Shipping coordinators earned $1,900 annually. IBM operators earned $2,200 annually. Average salary, $2,150 annually. German Hauptmann earned $1,680 annually. American civilians coordinating prisoner entertainment earned more than German military officers. The wage differential revealed economic capacity that ideology couldn't explain. Film inventory management demonstrated abundance through redundancy. Camp Ruston maintained 3 copies of popular titles, ensuring availability despite shipping delays or equipment failures. Germans struggled to maintain single copies. Americans maintained redundant inventory, ensuring uninterrupted service. The redundancy represented waste under scarcity thinking, but reliability under abundance thinking. American thinking assumed material surplus, allowing reliability through redundancy. German thinking assumed material scarcity, requiring efficiency through precision. American approach worked better. Mueller observed film delivery at Camp Concordia, noting precision timing. Scheduled delivery, Tuesday 2:00 p.m. Actual delivery, Tuesday 1:47 p.m. The film arrived in protective case, was inspected by camp recreation officer, logged in IBM card system, stored in climate-controlled cabinet, and scheduled for Wednesday screening. Total processing time, 23 minutes. The efficiency exceeded German military supply operations. Entertainment supplies moved through American logistics, with precision German military supplies never achieved. Waste at Camp Rustin exceeded German facility operational budgets. Rejected films, 847 prints annually worth $127,000. Germans couldn't afford to reject films showing minor flaws. Americans rejected films failing quality standards. Obsolete inventory, 1,240 prints retired annually because new copies available. Germans showed prints until physically unwatchable. Americans retired prints when better copies existed. Storage waste. Climate control cost $3,400 monthly maintaining optimal conditions. German storage facilities lacked climate control. American storage protected films better than Germans protected combat ammunition. Distribution vehicles dedicated to film transport. 47 trucks operating continuous routes serving camp network. These trucks hauled entertainment supplies with reliability exceeding German ammunition transport. Fuel allocation for film distribution, 12,400 gallons monthly. German civilian allocation, 3.7 million gallons monthly for 80 million citizens. American film distribution consumed fuel equivalent to 270,000 German civilians' monthly allocation. The priority given to prisoner entertainment exceeded German civilian priority. Hoffman visited Camp Rustin distribution hub in April 1944 during inspection tour. He observed operations with professional detachment, noting efficiency metrics, resource allocation, and systematic excellence. His inspection report stated, "This single distribution hub represents organizational capacity exceeding German national operations. They move entertainment supplies with precision we cannot achieve moving combat supplies. Their inventory management exceeds our strategic planning. Their quality control exceeds our military acceptance standards. Their logistics coordination exceeds our general staff operations. Every aspect of prisoner entertainment reveals systematic superiority, suggesting military operations achieve excellence we cannot match." The report reached Berlin. Officers dismissed it as defeatist pessimism. But Reinhardt finally began to doubt. June 1944, post-invasion reality. June 6, 1944, Allied invasion of Normandy. The invasion demonstrated production capacity that transformed Hoffman's warnings from defeatist pessimism to accurate prophecy. Allied forces landed 156,000 troops in single day using 5,000 vessels and 11,000 aircraft. Germans had predicted invasion but couldn't imagine scale. The material deployed in one day exceeded German production for 6 months. Theater capacity that amused Reinhardt in 1943 revealed surplus capacity that overwhelmed German forces in 1944. American production 1944, 96,318 aircraft, 17,993 tanks, 41,000 artillery pieces, 257,000 machine guns, 47,000 vehicles, 2,900 naval vessels. German production 1944, 39,807 aircraft, 18,956 tanks, 23,000 artillery pieces, 127,000 machine guns, 18,000 vehicles, 890 naval vessels. American production exceeded German production in every category except tanks, where equality existed. Despite simultaneously conducting Pacific Campaign, feeding 80 million civilians at prosperity levels, maintaining prisoner camps in abundance, and accumulating strategic reserves. The prisoner camp network continued expansion during invasion. June 1944, 341,000 prisoners in 511 facilities with 389 operational theaters. Film distribution, 2,847 reels weekly. Total monthly screenings, 156,000. Americans expanded prisoner entertainment while conducting largest amphibious operation in history. The simultaneous operations revealed capacity beyond German comprehension. They fought total war on 3 continents while treating prisoners better than Germany treated its civilians. Film distribution continued without interruption during invasion. Tuesday film deliveries maintained 99.2% reliability. Americans coordinated prisoner entertainment with same precision they coordinated combat operations. The demonstration of systematic excellence across all functions revealed organizational capacity that couldn't be matched through discipline alone. German military achieved excellence through sacrifice. American military achieved excellence through abundance, allowing excellence in all functions simultaneously. Camp theaters showed newsreels of invasion within 3 weeks. Prisoners watched their own defeat documented in cinematic excellence. The newsreels employed multiple camera crews, aerial cinematography, sound recording under combat conditions, and production values exceeding German newsreel capability. Americans documented their victory with cinematic excellence, while Germans struggled to document anything through equipment shortages. Cultural superiority compounded military superiority. Americans defeated Germany, then showed Germans how thoroughly they were defeated using entertainment technology Germans couldn't match. Mueller watched invasion newsreels with despair transforming to resignation. The footage showed material abundance that explained everything. Endless lines of vehicles rolling off transport ships, aircraft flying in formations exceeding hundreds, artillery pieces positioned wheel-to-wheel, supply dumps covering acres. The material deployed in one day exceeded German strategic reserves. The ammunition visible in single depot exceeded German monthly production. The food supplies visible in quartermaster yards exceeded German civilian allocation. Everything Hoffman warned about, everything Reinhardt dismissed, became undeniable through visual evidence. The newsreels showed American casualties being evacuated with care exceeding German treatment of its own wounded. Medical facilities visible in footage exceeded German military hospitals. Blood plasma availability exceeded German supply. Surgical equipment exceeded German capability. Americans treated combat wounded with resources Germans couldn't provide their most critical cases. The care extended to casualties revealed society, valuing individual human life at levels incomprehensible under ideology, prioritizing collective over individual. Production statistics revealed in post-invasion assessments confirmed Hoffman's analysis. Single American factory, Ford Willow Run, produced 8,685 B-24 bombers during war. Entire German aircraft industry produced 39,807 aircraft total in 1944. Single American factory's production exceeded entire German industry in specific type. The mathematics Reinhardt dismissed in 1943 became undeniable in 1944. American production exceeded German production by factors preventing military victory through any strategy based on efficiency, discipline, or sacrifice. Prison camp population surged post-invasion. July 1944, 427,000 prisoners requiring rapid expansion of facilities. Americans constructed new camps faster than Germany captured new territory. August 1944, 478,000 prisoners. September 1944, 512,000 prisoners. Americans processed, housed, fed, and entertained prisoners faster than Germany could deploy replacement troops. The logistics of prisoner management exceeded German logistics of military operations. Theater operations continued expansion matching prisoner growth. July 1944, 447 theaters operational. August 1944, 489 theaters. September 1944, 523 theaters. Americans built entertainment facilities faster than Germany built defensive fortifications. Theater construction competed with military construction for resources, yet both proceeded simultaneously at pace, exceeding German capability in either category alone. The simultaneous achievement revealed surplus capacity that overwhelmed German scarcity-based planning. Reinhardt faced reality reluctantly but inexorably. Hoffman was correct, he admitted in August 1944 after reviewing production comparisons. We measured American abundance against our efficiency and concluded efficiency would prevail. We calculated kill ratios and concluded superior discipline would overcome superior numbers. We dismissed their prisoner welfare as weakness rather than recognizing it as demonstration of overflow capacity. We made every error Hoffman warned against because ideology prevented us from accepting what statistics showed clearly. They possess industrial capacity we cannot defeat through any military strategy. Reinhardt's admission came too late to matter strategically, but acknowledged intellectual honesty confronting undeniable evidence. October 1944, systematic superiority documented. October 1944, camp population reached 547,000, requiring 573 facilities, with 541 operational theaters. The expansion continued despite accelerating combat operations across 2 theaters. Americans simultaneously advanced across France, conducted Pacific Island campaigns, supported British operations, supplied Soviet forces under Lend-Lease, maintained strategic bombing campaigns, built atomic weapons program, and expanded prisoner facilities. The simultaneous operations demonstrated capacity defying calculation under scarcity assumptions. Film distribution, October 1944, 3,240 reels weekly serving 624,000 monthly screenings. Total annual projection, 7.5 million prisoner viewings. Each prisoner averaged watching 42 films annually. German civilians averaged 4 films annually under collapse of civilian services. Enemy prisoners received 10 times more entertainment than German citizens. The disparity captured Total War's outcome. Americans entertained enemies better than Germany entertained citizens because American productive capacity exceeded German capacity absolutely. Production statistics confirmed systematic superiority across all measurable categories. American steel production 1944, 89.6 million tons. German steel production 28.5 million tons. Ratio 3:14:1. American aluminum production 920,000 tons. German aluminum production 245,000 tons. Ratio 3:76:1. American oil production 227 million tons. German oil production 5.5 million tons. Ratio 41:3:1. American rubber production synthetic 850,000 tons. German rubber production 117,000 tons. Ratio 7:26:1. Every strategic material showed American superiority by factors preventing German victory through any possible strategy. Labor productivity exceeded material superiority. American worker hours to produce B-24 bomber, 13,000 hours. German worker hours to produce equivalent He-177, 47,000 hours. American productivity exceeded German by factor 3:6:1. American civilian workers, working 8-hour shifts, 5 days weekly with vacation time, coffee breaks, and lunch breaks, produced German workers laboring 12-hour shifts, 6 days weekly under military discipline. Free labor outproduced coerced labor absolutely, not through greater effort but through superior organization, better equipment, automated processes, and systematic excellence. Technological superiority compounded productive superiority. American radar exceeded German radar in range, accuracy, reliability, and production volume. American aircraft exceeded German aircraft in numbers, performance, reliability, and technological sophistication. American ships exceeded German ships in tonnage, speed, weapons systems, and electronics. American vehicles exceeded German vehicles in quantity, reliability, logistics support, and operational availability. Every technological category showed American superiority, despite German ideology assuming ideological purity produced technological excellence. Camp Concordia October statistics revealed typical operations. Prisoner population, 4,800. Theater capacity, 700. Weekly screenings, 4. Monthly attendance, 16,800 viewings. Average attendance per prisoner, 3.5 viewings monthly, 42 annually. Films shown, mix of entertainment, educational content, and newsreels. Quality maintained commercial theater standards. Climate control maintained comfort. Seating provided padded chairs. Sound system provided theater-quality audio. Projection employed dual projector seamless changeover. The single camp's entertainment exceeded entire German city's civilian entertainment. Food service October 1944 at Camp Concordia. 3 daily meals providing 3,200 calories. Breakfast, eggs, bacon, toast, butter, jam, coffee, milk. Lunch, meat, vegetables, potatoes, bread, dessert, beverage. Dinner, equivalent variety. Monthly food cost, $38,400 for 4,800 prisoners, $8 per prisoner. German civilian food allocation, $3 per person monthly at official prices. American camps spent more than double per prisoner than Germans spent per civilian, and American rations exceeded German rations in quantity, quality, variety, and nutritional value. Medical care exceeded German military medical standards. Camp Concordia Medical Facility, 4 doctors, 12 nurses, full dental services, laboratory capabilities, surgical facilities, pharmacy, ambulance service. Prisoner medical care exceeded care available to German soldiers. Dental care provided to prisoners exceeded dental care provided to German officers. The inversion captured total reality. Enemies received better care than Germany provided its warriors because American surplus capacity exceeded German maximum effort. Recreational facilities beyond theater included athletic fields, craft workshops, musical instruments, library with 4,700 volumes, educational courses, gardening programs, and religious services. Americans provided enemies with recreational opportunities exceeding German soldiers' rest facilities. The abundance wasn't strategic calculation. It was automatic application of American standards to all humans under American jurisdiction, regardless of enemy status. The automatic humanity exceeded German ideology's capacity to explain. Mueller reflected in October diary entry. We lost this war in 1943 when Reinhardt laughed at American theater construction. We lost because we measured their abundance against our efficiency and concluded efficiency would prevail. We lost because ideology prevented us from recognizing that free workers outproduce slaves, democratic cooperation exceeds authoritarian command, and industrial capacity determines military capacity more than battlefield courage. We are defeated not by better soldiers but by better factories, not by superior tactics but by superior production, not by military excellence but by industrial excellence producing military excellence automatically. The theater projecting films twice weekly represents more strategic reality than our tactical victories achieved through sacrifice. They entertained us while defeating us because they possessed capacity for both simultaneously. December 1944, final statistics before collapse. December 1944 marked statistical peak before German collapse. Camp population, 612,000 in 627 facilities with 589 operational theaters. Film distribution, 3,540 reels weekly. Monthly screenings, 708,000. Annual projection, 8.5 million prisoner viewings. Americans operated largest entertainment network in history, serving exclusively enemy prisoners, while simultaneously conducting combat operations, defeating most powerful military machine in European history. Production comparisons December 1944 showed absolute German defeat in industrial categories. American aircraft production 1944, 96,318. German aircraft production, 39,807. Ratio, 2:42:1. American tank production, 17,993. German tank production, 18,956. Ratio, German advantage in single category. American vehicle production, 647,000. German vehicle production, 47,000. Ratio, 13:8:1. American artillery production, 41,000. German artillery production, 23,000. Ratio, 1:78:1. American ammunition production, 47 billion rounds. German ammunition production, 8.2 billion rounds. Ratio, 5:73:1. Every category except tanks showed American superiority by factors preventing victory through any military strategy. Strategic material production revealed absolute German inferiority. American steel production 1944, 89.6 million tons. German steel production, 28.5 million tons. This single differential explained everything. Americans produced 61.1 million tons more steel annually than Germany, enough steel to build 244,400 tanks, or 305,500 aircraft, or 1.22 million artillery pieces. The differential exceeded German total production, meaning Americans possessed surplus steel exceeding total German production after meeting all military requirements. The surplus explained prisoner camp abundance. Americans allocated steel to prisoner welfare from overflow after meeting combat requirements exceeding German capacity. Labor statistics revealed productivity differential preventing German victory through any sacrifice. American industrial workforce, 47 million workers producing military equipment exceeding all Axis powers combined while maintaining civilian prosperity. German industrial workforce, 14.8 million workers, including forced labor, producing output less than American output despite longer hours, harsher discipline, and total mobilization. American productivity per worker exceeded German productivity by factor 2.9, 1 before adjusting for working hours. Adjusting for hours, American productivity exceeded German productivity by factor 4.1. Free workers on 8-hour shifts outproduced forced workers on 12-hour shifts by factors exceeding 4.1. Technology differential compounded production differential. American B-29 bomber, pressurized cabin, remote control turrets, advanced engines, sophisticated electronics, operational ceiling 33,000 feet. German He-177, unpressurized, manual turrets, unreliable engines, minimal electronics, operational ceiling 26,000 feet. American technology exceeded German technology in every measurable category despite German ideology, assuming ideological purity, produced technological superiority. Technology reflected societal organization. Democratic cooperation producing systematic excellence exceeded authoritarian command, producing isolated brilliance. Camp operations December 1944 continued standard service despite German collapse accelerating. Film deliveries maintained 99.2% reliability. Food service maintained 3,200 calorie daily allocation. Medical care maintained standards exceeding German military care. Recreational programming continued full schedule. Americans maintained standard prisoner treatment despite combat intensity increasing because maintaining standards required trivial percentage of total capacity. Germans couldn't maintain military operations standards under pressure. Americans maintained prisoner welfare standards automatically because surplus capacity exceeded pressure thresholds. Theater operations employed increasingly sophisticated programming. Educational films increased to 40% of programming. Language instruction used films specifically produced for English teaching. Technical education screened industrial films showing American manufacturing methods, essentially teaching German prisoners how Americans achieved productive superiority. The confidence in showing enemies' production methods revealed society assuming superiority, so absolute that disclosure wouldn't enable competition. Mueller attended screening of films showing American aircraft factory operations. The footage documented production line methods, producing B-24 bombers at rate of 1 aircraft per 63 minutes. The single factory's production line exceeded entire German aircraft industry's output. The film showed automated assembly, interchangeable parts, unskilled workers performing specialized tasks, and systematic excellence producing aircraft faster than Germany could train pilots to fly them. The screening wasn't propaganda. It was documentary showing reality Germans had dismissed as impossible propaganda. The footage documented everything Hoffman warned about and Reinhardt dismissed. Mueller watched knowing the war was lost, because the footage showed industrial capacity Germans couldn't defeat through any conceivable military strategy. Waste statistics December 1944 achieved levels seeming criminal under German circumstances. Food waste, 3.2 million pounds monthly across all camps. Film waste, 478 prints retired monthly. Equipment waste, projection bulbs, sound equipment, seating, and facility maintenance generating waste exceeding German facility operating budgets. Construction waste, 67,000 board feet lumber discarded monthly. The waste represented American normalcy, society possessing abundance sufficient that waste cost less than calculation preventing waste. Germans calculated to minimize waste because scarcity made waste expensive. Americans wasted freely because abundance made calculation more expensive than waste. Hoffman submitted final intelligence assessment December 1944. German defeat is absolute and inevitable. Enemy possesses industrial capacity exceeding Axis powers combined by factors ranging from 1 to 40, 1 depending on category. Their prisoner welfare allocation, $14, $7 million annually for entertainment alone, represents rounding error in military budget exceeding $300 billion. They spend 0.005% of military budget entertaining enemies. This trivial percentage provides prisoners with welfare exceeding German civilian welfare. The mathematics are absolute. We cannot defeat enemy possessing such overwhelming capacity. Recommendation: immediate negotiation before unconditional surrender becomes only option. Reinhardt endorsed this assessment with notation. Correct. We were warned. We dismissed warnings. History will judge our hubris harshly. March 1945. Collapse documented in theater attendance. March 1945 camp population reached 712,000, requiring 689 facilities, with 627 operational theaters. German military collapsed, while American prisoner camp network expanded. Americans built camps faster than Germans evacuated territories. Theater operations continued without disruption despite combat operations reaching German territory. Film distribution maintained reliability, food service maintained standards, medical care maintained quality, and recreational programming continued full schedules. Americans demonstrated operational excellence across all functions simultaneously, while Germany couldn't maintain military operations alone. Mueller attended final screening in April 1945 before war ended. Technicolor musical Meet Me in St. Louis, showing American civilian life during wartime. The film depicted prosperity, abundance, family comfort, and normalcy incomprehensible under German wartime experience. The production values exceeded German cinema's peacetime capability. The color cinematography exceeded German technical capability. The musical score exceeded German production quality. The set design showed American middle-class home exceeding German upper-class standards. The costumes showed abundance in fabric, variety, and quality. Every frame demonstrated society waging total war without civilian sacrifice comparable to German experience. The film showed Christmas celebration with abundance, decorated tree, wrapped presents, elaborate meal, family celebration. German Christmas 1944 occurred under bombing, shortages, and collapse. American Christmas 1944 occurred in prosperity shown in Technicolor. The contrast captured total reality. Democracy waging total war maintained civilian prosperity, while authoritarian regime waging total war imposed total sacrifice. Democratic organization proved superior to authoritarian organization by demonstrating capability for total war without total sacrifice. Theater attendance March 1945 reached 847,000 monthly screenings, serving 712,000 prisoners. Average attendance per prisoner, 1.19 screenings weekly. Prisoners weren't forced to attend yet chose to attend because alternatives, comfortable barracks with recreational facilities, were merely comfortable rather than entertaining. German propaganda insisted prisoners would resist American corruption. Instead, prisoners voluntarily attended screenings showing American superiority, because American superiority was undeniable through direct observation. Film selection increasingly included newsreels documenting German collapse. Prisoners watched their homeland being destroyed in footage documenting strategic bombing campaigns, ground operations advancing into Germany, and German military disintegration. The newsreels showed American material superiority overwhelming German resistance, aircraft flying unopposed, artillery firing in massed batteries, tanks advancing in armored waves, and supply columns stretching to horizon. Every frame documented industrial capacity Reinhardt dismissed and Hoffman warned about. Camp operations maintained standards during final weeks despite imminent victory, removing any practical necessity. Americans continued serving 3,200-calorie meals when victory would soon eliminate prisoners as concern. They maintained theater operations when surrender would soon return prisoners home. They provided medical care, recreational programming, and humane treatment when military necessity no longer required such treatment. The maintained standards revealed democratic values operating automatically rather than strategically. Americans treated prisoners humanely not because strategy required it, but because values demanded it regardless of strategic calculation. Mueller Final Diary Entry April 28, 1945. War ends this week. We lost because we dismissed American abundance as weakness rather than recognizing it as strength. We saw them building theaters for prisoners and laughed at their softness rather than fearing their capacity. We measured their waste against our efficiency and concluded efficiency would prevail. We were catastrophically wrong. Their waste exceeded our total production. Their overflow capacity defeated our maximum effort. Their entertainment budget exceeded our propaganda budget. Their prisoner welfare exceeded our civilian welfare. We lost not on battlefields, but in factories, not through military inferiority, but through industrial inferiority, not through tactical failure, but through strategic failure to recognize that democracies possessing industrial superiority defeat dictatorships possessing tactical superiority absolutely. The lesson is expensive. 5.5 million German soldiers died learning what statistics showed in 1943. America possessed industrial capacity we could not defeat through any military strategy. Reinhardt's laughter in March 1943 became history's most expensive miscalculation. May 1945, capitulation and testimony. May 8, 1945, Frankfurt, Germany, interrogation center. Ernst Hoffmann sat across from American intelligence officers, providing testimony about German strategic miscalculations. "We were not defeated by better soldiers, but by better factories," Hoffmann stated precisely. American steel production exceeded German by 61.1 million tons annually. This differential alone, the excess, not the total, could have built 244,400 additional tanks. American oil production exceeded German by factor 41.1. American aluminum exceeded German by factor 3.76.1. American aircraft production exceeded German by factor 2.42.1. American ammunition exceeded German by factor 5.73.1. A single American automobile factory, Willow Run, produced more bombers than German aircraft industry produced all types. Mathematically, militarily, we faced industrial avalanche we could not stop through any strategy based on tactics, discipline, or sacrifice. Hoffmann continued, "Your prisoner welfare demonstrated strategic reality we refuse to acknowledge. You spent $14.7 million annually entertaining prisoners. This amount represented 0.005% of your military budget. You allocated more to prisoner entertainment than we allocated to civilian welfare under rationing. You fed prisoners 3,200 calories daily, while German civilians received 1,800 calories. You built 627 camp theaters showing 8.5 million screenings annually, while German civilian theaters collapsed under material shortages. You didn't sacrifice combat capability to provide prisoner welfare. You demonstrated overflow capacity after meeting combat requirements exceeding our maximum production." Reinhardt dismissed this as weakness. It was demonstration of overwhelming strength. Hans Mueller provided combat testimony documenting material differential. "I saw American forces deploy material abundance that seemed impossible under military logistics. Artillery ammunition exceeded our monthly allocation expended in single bombardment. Aircraft flew in formations exceeding our entire regional strength. Tanks advanced in numbers exceeding our entire army group. Supply columns stretched for miles carrying material exceeding our strategic reserves. When we captured American positions, we found equipment, ammunition, food, medical supplies, and material abundance exceeding our headquarters allocation. Individual American soldiers carried more ammunition than German squad leaders. Their rations exceeded our officer rations. Their equipment exceeded our elite units. They didn't just outproduce us, they revolutionized production itself through systematic excellence we couldn't match." Klaus Reinhardt testified with unusual humility. "I dismissed American prisoner welfare as weakness demonstrating democratic softness. I was catastrophically wrong. Theater construction demonstrated industrial capacity exceeding our strategic planning. Film distribution demonstrated logistics exceeding our military logistics. Food service demonstrated agricultural capacity exceeding our maximum production. Medical care demonstrated resources exceeding our combat medicine. Every aspect of prisoner welfare demonstrated systematic superiority, suggesting combat operations achieved excellence we couldn't match. I laughed at theater construction in March 1943. By December 1944, I recognized my laughter as history's most expensive miscalculation. We weren't defeated in combat. We were buried under industrial avalanche, producing combat superiority automatically." Additional testimony documented systematic recognition. "We brought 19th century industrial methods to 20th century industrial war," one officer stated. "Their excess capacity exceeded our maximum effort in every category. They could lose 10,000 aircraft and replace them in 6 weeks. We couldn't produce 10,000 aircraft in 12 months. They could lose entire armies and replace them from training pipeline. We couldn't replace regiment losses. The mathematics were absolute. They possessed surplus exceeding our total capacity. Our maximum effort represented their overflow production." Production comparisons stated by interrogated officers documented comprehensive defeat. American total production 1939-1945. 297,000 aircraft, 86,000 tanks, 2.4 million trucks, 319,000 artillery pieces, 17 million rifles, 2.7 million machine guns, 41 billion ammunition rounds, 5,600 naval vessels. German total production 1939-1945. 119,000 aircraft, 67,000 tanks, 350,000 trucks, 159,000 artillery pieces, 12 million rifles, 1.2 million machine guns, 16 billion ammunition rounds, 1,600 naval vessels. American production exceeded German production in every category by factors ranging from 1 to 6, 9, 1. Single American industrial base outproduced German industrial base despite Germany conquering most of Europe's industrial capacity. Strategic material comparisons revealed absolute American superiority. American steel production 1939-1945, 534 million tons. German steel production, 165 million tons. Differential, 369 million tons, enough excess steel to build entire German war production twice over. American aluminum production, 5.5 million tons. German aluminum production, 1.4 million tons. Differential, 4.1 million tons, excess aluminum exceeding German production by factor 2.91. American oil production, 1.35 billion tons. German oil production, 33 million tons. Differential, 1.32 billion tons, American production exceeding German by factor 40.91. The oil differential alone prevented German victory. Insufficient fuel capacity limited operations regardless of tactical excellence. Labor productivity comparisons revealed systematic superiority. American workers produced 2.9 times more output per capita than German workers before adjusting for working hours. Adjusting for hours, Americans working 40-hour weeks versus Germans working 72-hour weeks. American productivity exceeded German by factor 4.1. Free labor outproduced forced labor absolutely through superior organization, better equipment, automated processes, and systematic excellence producing efficiency exceeding discipline-based systems. Technological comparisons revealed comprehensive superiority. American radar, aircraft, ships, vehicles, weapons, communications, logistics systems, and production methods exceeded German equivalents across measurable categories. German ideology assumed ideological purity produced technological superiority. Reality demonstrated democratic cooperation, produced systematic technological excellence exceeding authoritarian command, producing isolated brilliance. Every technological category showed American superiority, despite German self-assessment, assuming technological leadership. Final testimony documented recognition. The lesson remains obvious to anyone examining statistics objectively. Industrial capacity determines military capacity in modern war more than tactical excellence, operational brilliance, or strategic genius. Germany possessed tactical excellence, operational brilliance, and strategic genius. We lost because America possessed industrial capacity exceeding our capacity by factors preventing victory through any military strategy. Theater construction for prisoners demonstrated this reality in March 1943. We dismissed the demonstration. By May 1945, we recognized our dismissal as catastrophic miscalculation measured in 5.5 million German military deaths and total national collapse. Philosophical coda. The prisoner of war theater program proved that democratic industrial organization exceeds authoritarian industrial organization in systematic competition. Free workers outproduced forced workers. Democratic cooperation exceeded totalitarian command. Industrial abundance buried ideological superiority under material weight measured in tons of steel, millions of calories, thousands of films, and hundreds of theaters serving enemy prisoners better than Axis powers served their own citizens. The systematic excellence demonstrated through prisoner welfare revealed organizational capacity, producing military excellence automatically rather than through sacrifice. Americans defeated Germany while entertaining German prisoners because democratic systems generate surplus capacity exceeding authoritarian systems' maximum efforts. The theater projecting films twice weekly represented more strategic reality than tactical victories achieved through sacrifice. It demonstrated overflow capacity after meeting combat requirements exceeding German production absolutely. The mathematics proved absolute. American steel production exceeded German by 369 million tons total war production. American oil production exceeded German by factor 40.9.1. American labor productivity exceeded German by factor 4.4.1 adjusting for hours. American aircraft production exceeded German by factor 2.42.1. American ammunition production exceeded German by factor 5.73.1. These differentials prevented German victory through any military strategy because material superiority produced military superiority automatically. Tactical excellence, operational brilliance, strategic genius, battlefield courage, ideological commitment, and national sacrifice couldn't overcome industrial differential exceeding factors of 2.1 to 41, 1 depending on category. The Prisoner Theater Network. 627 facilities showing 8.5 million screenings annually to 712,000 prisoners while providing 3,200 daily calories. Medical care exceeding German military standards. Recreational facilities exceeding German soldier facilities. And humane treatment exceeding Geneva Convention requirements. Demonstrated democratic values operating automatically rather than strategically. Americans treated enemies humanely not because strategy required it, but because values demanded it regardless of strategic calculation. The automatic humanity exceeded authoritarian ideology's capacity to explain because ideology assumed strength required cruelty, while reality demonstrated strength-enabled humanity. March 15, 1943, Oberst Klaus Reinhardt had laughed at American theater construction for prisoners, dismissing it as democratic weakness proving inevitable defeat. May 8, 1945, Reinhardt testified to catastrophic miscalculation. American theater construction demonstrated industrial capacity burying German military excellence under material avalanche. His mockery became history's most expensive miscalculation measured in 5.5 million German military deaths, 7.3 million German civilian deaths, total national collapse, complete territorial occupation, and absolute defeat preventing any negotiated settlement. The laughter in Berlin War Room became testimony of comprehensive failure recognizing, too late, that dismissing democratic abundance as weakness invites catastrophic defeat when abundance produces military superiority automatically. The lesson remains clear for any nation contemplating conflict with democratic industrial powers. Dismissing democratic nations as weak because they prefer peace, or underestimating free people's productive capacity, or assuming authoritarian efficiency exceeds democratic cooperation, or believing ideological commitment overcomes material superiority, invites catastrophic miscalculation. Democracy's preference for peace reflects strength, not weakness. Democracy's prisoner welfare demonstrates overflow capacity, not sacrifice. Democracy's humanitarian values reveal confident superiority, not naive softness. The theater showing movies to enemy prisoners twice weekly represents more strategic reality than battlefield victories achieved through sacrifice. It demonstrates industrial capacity producing military superiority automatically while maintaining civilian prosperity and treating enemies humanely simultaneously. Authoritarianism cannot defeat such comprehensive systematic superiority through tactics, strategy, discipline, sacrifice, or ideological commitment. The mathematics remain absolute. Industrial capacity determines military capacity, and democratic organization produces industrial capacity exceeding authoritarian organization by factors preventing authoritarian victory through any conceivable military strategy.